10 जून 2018 दो औरतें आशा ठाकुर और भावना ठाकुर, इन दोनों ने साबरमती नदी में कूद के अपनी जान दे दी. They left 2 suicide notes near Ellis Bridge. A message was scribbled with red lipstick near the Sabarmati river that read, "We have left this world to live with each other. The world did not allow us to stay together. We did not have any men with us." Another message, scribbled in the same fashion, was found on a disposable plate nearby. The world did not allow us to stay together. ये दुनिया हमें साथ नहीं रहने देना चाहती, लेकिन हम साथ रहना चाहते हैं और हम साथ रहेंगे. इस दुनिया में नहीं रहेंगे तो दूसरी दुनिया में रहेंगे. They ended their lives because their same-sex relationship was contradicted by the world. They also ended the life of an innocent 3-year-old who, according to sources, was child of one of them. In July 2019, a 19-year-old boy named Avinshu Patel killed himself in Chennai because he was tired of people making fun of him and not acknowledging his true identity. Avinshu Patel was a Mumbai resident who worked in a beauty salon. He was given advanced training to be a nail artist because he was good at his job. He wrote a Facebook post on his wall before taking his own life that read, "They all know that I'm a boy, but the way I walk, think and talk is like that of a girl. People in India do not like that." उसने ये भी लिखा कि प्लीज़ मेरी फैमिली को ब्लेम मत करना, उनकी हेल्प करना. हम बहुत गरीब हैं. मैं अपनी माँ से, अपने पिता से, अपनी बहन से बहुत प्यार करता हूँ. वो हमेशा मुझे सपोर्ट करते रहे, पर मैं फिर भी अकेला था. It is not my fault that I was born gay. मई 12, 2020 21 साल की अंजना हरीश ने सुइसाइड कमिट कर लिया. गोवा पुलिस का कहना था कि उसने फेसबुक पे अपने मरने से पहले एक वीडियो डाला जिसमें वो कन्फेस कर रही थी कि जैसे ही उसने रिवील किया कि वो एक बाइसेक्सुअल है, उसकी लाइफ हेल हो गई. उसे कोई भी जीने नहीं देना चाहता था और इसलिए उसने खुद की ही जान ले ली.
ഫിസിക്കലി എന്നെ ടോർച്ചർ ചെയ്തു. ഫിസിക്കലി മാത്രമല്ല, മെൻ്റലിയും ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് ടോർച്ചർ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. നേരെ കോയമ്പത്തൂർ കൊണ്ടുപോയി. അവിടെ NS മോണി എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ഡോക്ടറിൻ്റെ അടുത്തേക്കാണ് കൊണ്ടുപോയത്. എന്താ പറയുക, അവിടുന്ന് ഡോക്ടർ സെഡേഷൻ വെക്കാൻ ഞാൻ പറയുന്നുണ്ട് മാക്സിമം എനിക്ക് ഒന്നും പ്രശ്നമില്ല, ഞാൻ ഓക്കെ ആണ് എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ. പക്ഷേ അവിടുന്ന് സെഡേഷൻ വെക്കാൻ എന്നെ നിർബന്ധിക്കാനുണ്ടായത്. പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ മാക്സിമം എതിർത്തു. പക്ഷെ എൻ്റെ ഒരു 3 ആഴ്ച ഞാൻ ശരിക്കും ഫിസിക്കലി മെൻ്റലി ഒരു സെല്ലിലായിരുന്നു. ഭക്ഷണം കഴിക്കാൻ മാത്രമേ എന്നെ പുറത്തിറക്കിയിട്ടുള്ളൂ. പറയുന്ന ക്രിസ്ത്യൻസ് നടത്തുന്ന ഒരു സെൻ്റർ ആയിരുന്നു അത്.
She was reportedly coerced by her family into conversion therapy. Anjana said she was forcefully taken to 2 de-addiction centers by her family without her permission. She was slapped, hit, she said in the video, as she tried to explain that there was nothing wrong with her. उसको दवाइयाँ दी गई क्योंकि उसकी फैमिली को लगता था कि वो नॉर्मल नहीं है, उसे कोई बीमारी है. These are just few cases, but there are numerous other such cases and a whole lot of cases that remain unreported. Avinshu's case speaks to us about how it is still a challenge for someone like him to be a part of the society. Anjana's case tells us about the cruel outcomes that one has to face after coming out. What other cases tell us is that even today, people from LGBTQ community find it easier to end their lives instead of fighting for their identity. Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code came into force more than a century and a half ago. In 1861, when India was still being ruled by the British, it was modelled on Britain's Buggery Act of 1533 and criminalized unnatural offences. According to the Act, whoever voluntarily has carnal intercourse against the order of nature with any man, woman or animal shall be punished with imprisonment for life or with imprisonment for either description for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. Although the Act did not explicitly specify gay sex or any other consensual intercourse, involving those people who are not heterosexual, it was based on the idea that anything other than normative heterosexual sex was against the order of nature and was therefore criminal. Technically, this covers forms of sex that are not considered natural for heterosexuals, like oral or anal, as well as all forms of intercourse between homosexuals. Although India gained independence from Britain in 1947, the criminal code continued to be based on the one that had been developed during the Raj, even though attitude towards homosexuality in India have historically been very different to the Western belief that it is immoral. Movement to repeal Section 377 was initiated by AIDS Bhedbhav Virodhi Andolan in 1991. Their historic publication, Less Than Gay, a Citizen's report on the status of homosexuality, spelled out the problems with Section 377. Through that report, they very actively asked for the repeal of Section 377. The case again was revived in the next decade, led by the Nas Foundation Trust, an activist group which filed a public interest litigation in Delhi High Court in 2001. They sought legalization of homosexual intercourse between consenting adults. However, in 2003, Delhi High Court refused to consider a petition regarding the legality of the law, saying that the petitioners had no locus standi in this matter. But Nas Foundation did not stop there. They went to Supreme Court and appealed against the decision of the Delhi High Court to dismiss the petition on technical grounds. The Supreme Court decided that the Nas Foundation can file a PIL in the case and further send the case back to the Delhi High Court to reconcile it on merit. As soon as the petition got its acceptance, there were many who came out and supported the LGBTQ community fearlessly. To start a movement, you have to move out first and then expect others to come with you. Said by Rabindranath Tagore came out to be very true in this situation. Sunil Mehra, a journalist who was in a relationship with Navtej Singh Johar, a dancer who filed the petition against Section 377 in 2016, Ritu Dalmia and Aman Nath, a writer, are names of those who demonstrated keen activism. May 2008, ये 7 साल पुरानी petition finally Delhi High Court में hearing के लिए पेश की गई. And finally, the judgment was delivered on 2nd July 2009, where Delhi High Court overturned the 150-year-old section legalizing consensual homosexual activities between adults. This was the first time when people fighting for LGBTQ group tasted their victory. मैं और आप उनकी खुशी का अंदाज़ा भी नहीं लगा सकते. Finally, भले ही दुनिया उनके साथ नहीं थी, सोसाइटी उनके साथ नहीं थी, लेकिन लॉ उनके साथ था. But this happiness didn't last for long. In 2013, the Supreme Court, quashing the High Court order, held that the order was legally unsustainable. People mostly criticize on what they cannot understand. The lines said by Charles Dickens was clearly evident after the judgment by Supreme Court. Not only the normal public but also people possessing high status in the society went for supporting the Section 377 and criticizing the LGBTQ community. Love and affection to someone is a natural phenomenon that exists in the minds and brains of the people. होमोसेक्सुअलिटी के खिलाफ बहुत सारे लोग खड़े थे क्योंकि उनके हिसाब से प्रेम और भावनाएं 2 धर्मों का बंधन था, लेकिन लोग इससे आगे बढ़ चुके थे. उनके हिसाब से अब 2 धर्म नहीं थे इनके बीच में, 2 मन थे जो जुड़ना चाहते थे डिस्पाइट ऑल द बाउंड्स ऑफ द सोसाइटी, डिस्पाइट देयर सेम जेंडर. LGBTQ कम्युनिटी को अपोज करते हुए बहुत सारे लोग थे, लेकिन इनके साथ खड़े भी काफ़ी सारे लोग थे. Vikram Seth, one of the greatest novelists and a poet of India, freely supported the community and said to one of the articles published by India Today कि ऐसी ज़िंदगी का क्या फ़ायदा, ऐसी सोसाइटी का क्या फ़ायदा जो आपको उस इंसान से प्यार करने ना दे जिससे आप प्यार करना चाहते हैं. The law also came in for criticism from several ministers like Anubami Ramados, Arun Jaitley. According to them, Supreme Court should not have altered the Delhi High Court order which decriminalized consensual sex between the same gender. Indian National Congress also supported homosexuality and opposed Section 377. Shashi Tharoor, one of its old members, also introduced a bill for the repeal of Section 377, but it was rejected in the House by 71 to 24 majority in a very early phase. हालांकि सब इनके खिलाफ थे और बहुत कम इनके साथ थे, इनकी लड़ाई रुकी नहीं. And soon they were going to get the prize for their struggle. In the year 2016, 5 people filed a new writ petition in the Supreme Court challenging the constitutionality of the section. The petition was filed by Navtej Singh Johar, the dancer, Sunil Mehra, a journalist, Ritu Dalmia, a chief, Keshav Suri and Aisha Kapoor together. So far, this case was the first instance wherein any petitioner prayed in front of the court that the section is against the Constitution of India, as it violates right to sexual privacy, dignity, right against discrimination and freedom of expression. Supreme Court finally decided to review the petition and the criminalization of homosexual activity. इतने सालों से चल रही इस डिफिकल्ट लड़ाई पे शायद ईश्वर को ही दया आ गई. In the middle of all this, in 2017, there came a judgment of the Supreme Court where the court unanimously ruled that the right to individual privacy is a fundamental right in the Constitution of India. The judgment also mentioned that right to privacy and right to sexual orientation lies at the core of the fundamental rights guaranteed by Article 14, 15 and 21 of the Constitution. The judgment gave hopes to LGBTQ activists that the court would soon strike down the section, as according to them, the section was violative of the articles mentioned by the court in the said judgment. It was in 2018 when the hearing of the petition that challenged the constitutional validity of Section 377 was started. 5 judges की bench बैठी, जिसमें थे Chief Justice Deepak Mishra, Justices R.F. Nariman, D.Y. Chandrachud, Indu Malhotra and A.M. Khanvilkar. The petition urged to the court that Section 377 is unconstitutional and should be curbed down as it is violative of Article 14, 15 and Article 21 of Indian Constitution. The hearing went on for 4 days, after which the court reserved its verdict. 8th September 2018 was the day when finally the judgment came, and also when the Supreme Court reversed its 2013 judgment of restoring Section 377. The court stated that Section 377 that criminalizes homosexuality is now unconstitutional and hence void. The court also unanimously declared that the portions of the law relating to the consensual sex between the adults is unconstitutional. However, the other remaining portion of Section 377 relating to sex with minors, non-consensual sex between adults and bestiality still remains in force. इस judgment ने इतिहास बदल दिया. Justice Indu Malhotra said, "History owes an apology to these people and their families. Homosexuality is the part of human sexuality. All of them have a right to a dignified life and freedom from discrimination. Consensual sexual acts between adults are allowed for LGBTQ community." Not so soon, but also not so late. After 157 years, homosexuals got what they deserve, a valid legality to their relationship in our country. Decriminalizing consensual sex between the adults of the same gender made India to join 125 nations where homosexuality is legal. This was the prize that LGBTQ activists got for their struggle for 17 years. All 4 opinions talk about the preeminence of constitutional morality in India. The Constitution guarantees equal rights, and this cannot be denied to any class of citizens by giving precedence to public or religious morality. The answer is no. The section covered all unnatural offences and even the act done between 2 adults consensually. The amended provision only decriminalizes the sexual act between homosexuals done with consent. The court has declared that in principle, this community has now all the rights of an ordinary citizen. However, this does not mean that the LGBTQ community will immediately get all the rights that have been denied to them. Rights of inheritance and marriage are founded in laws that assume heterosexuality as the norm. These have to be changed by amending the individual laws. This judgment, however, opened the doors of the Supreme Court for the community to enforce all fundamental rights and push the states to amend all laws to recognize the rights of LGBTQ communities in all spheres, marriage, inheritance, everything. Unfortunately, no. All cases that have been already settled will not be open. However, the court has asked the lower judiciary to take into account the judgment in all pending cases, even if the trial has begun in those cases. They fought and finally they won. But is this the end to it? Is the fight completely over? The answer is completely no. The judgment alone does not change people's lives. After the Supreme Court judgment, virtually all political parties appeared to agree. There were no large demonstrations by people against it. The seemingly ready acceptance clearly reflected that it is just the fear of homosexuality that people have because they are unaware of the real facts. Prominent people need to understand that homosexuality is not an addiction or a mental state of a person, but something innate and extremely natural to a human being. But we also have to agree to a fact that change in the society is a slow process and it requires constant effort on the part of those who wish to see the change. The Supreme Court judgment already laid the foundation to it. All we need to do is raise awareness and cultivate empathy because ignorance is the only reason for homophobia in people. So let's just put efforts for the right thing and hope for the better and safe society with equal status given to all.